Hi everyone, it's Larisse here from A Yarn to Remember. Welcome and thanks for being here. Today I'll be showing you how I use embossing in my Erin Condren Life Planner. And I've been a long time planner user and a long time stamp user, but it was just only last year that I started to stamp in my planner. My mum had bought me an Erin Condren Life Planner for my birthday and I absolutely love it. I have also been embossing for a while, but have only just recently done embossing in my planner a few weeks ago. And it pretty much started because my mum's home group had a Kate Spade inspired Pinterest party, and a lot of it was in gold. So I was very gold mad for a few weeks and started stamping in gold ink in my planner, and I took that a step further and actually started embossing in gold ink in my planner. So yeah, I've been asked if it took me a long time to create this look, because let's face it, we want our planners to look pretty, but we don't necessarily have a long time to spend doing that, because first and foremost my planner has to be functional and has to remain functional. But that being said, it didn't really take me a long time to emboss for the whole week, but I say that also having used embossing before, and I have a process in place. So if you haven't worked with embossing, it will take you longer. So I would suggest playing around with it first until you are familiar with the steps, and maybe start with embossing a couple of things in your planner until you've got the hang of it. And after that, you may or may not really want to emboss absolutely everything like I did, and I will show you what my week had looked like that week that I did emboss my entire week, and maybe you can just do highlights here and there. So let me grab my planner, and here it is. I'm actually going to be doing things a little backwards here, but I am facing the camera, and I will be showing you things upside down to me, but hopefully it will come through fine. Okay, so here is my Erin Condren Life Planner, and I won't get into this really, as that's not the purpose of this video, but I may go through it at a different point in another video. But here is the week that I did the embossing, and I absolutely love embossing, and I usually mainly only do it in cards and in journaling, in my books and things like that, but it went really great in my planner. So I'll bring it up to the camera and hopefully you'll be able to see some of the detail. Here. And it's absolutely beautiful. So it's this raised effect, if you are not familiar with embossing. So this is what I will be showing you today. So let's get started, shall we? So materials that you'll need are ink, and generally speaking you will need slow drying pigment ink, but there are also embossing specific inks that you can get, like this distress embossing ink in clear. I use this predominantly when I'm embossing, but I also love using any of the distress inks. For example, this black one in Soot works really well. So these are the two that I'll be showing you today that I'll be using predominantly. So you will also need stamps, and here are a couple of my planner stamps that I'll be showing you. I've got a few here from Sweet Stamp Shop, Studio L2E, and my favorite things, which are really my favorite stamps to use in my planner. You will need acrylic blocks to put these clear stamps on, for example like these, and I have a set of these in different sizes, and I really like using the little ones most because the planner stamps are quite small. And I want to give a shout out to my favorite planner girl, Sierra, who is Planner Friend on Instagram. She was the one who had this brilliant idea of putting washi tape on your acrylic blocks on the edges of them, because they're clear and it's quite hard to see them amongst the mess that kind of ensues when you're planning. My desk right now is quite clean, but after a planning session, it's really quite messy, and these things tend to really just grow legs and just run away. So you'll need acrylic blocks. You will also need embossing powders, and these are the ones that I want to show you today. The gold that was that I used in my planner, and these three are from Recollections, and you can buy them from Michael's, and you can get embossing powder from Joann's or online on Amazon. They're really quite inexpensive, and they go a long way, because once you cover the image with the powder, you kind of tap it off and then put it back in the bottle, and I'll show you that a little bit later. So I've got in gold, in clear, and also in black here. So we will use these in a few minutes. I also have these Avery labels, mini labels, that I use in my planner because they fit really quite well and they're repositionable, so you can take them off and put them back on any spot on the pages of your planner, and kind of position them. And these are the ones that I love using because they actually fit perfectly in my Erin Condren boxes, and I will link everything that I will be using here today below, and you can have a look at them. And they pretty much come in these boxes like this, so I will link the ones that I specifically use here below, that you can go and check out. Okay, and most importantly, you will need a heating tool, and they look like this, so they're really nothing fancy. It's just got an on and off button, and this specific one, this brand, I bought from Amazon a while ago, and it works really great. I've used a hairdryer before, but it's really simply not strong enough, and it took me so long to even emboss a small area. So I would invest in one of these, and they're not that expensive. You can probably buy one even from Michael's or Joann's if you have a 50% off coupon, or like recently they had a 60% off coupon, and you can definitely get these for less than $10. This specific one here I think maybe under 20 bucks on Amazon. So I love this tool, it's great, and you'll need it for what we're going to be doing today. So let's get started. There's two ways of doing embossing, and it's to use a clear ink with colored embossing powder. And I'll show you what this looks like in the gold that I used in my planner, and also I'll be showing it to you in the black. But there is also, you can also do embossing in colored ink, so we'll be using the black soot with a clear embossing powder. So there are a multitudes of embossing powder in multiple colors, and obviously you can also use different colors in the ink. So if you're using a colored ink, you'll want to use a clear embossing powder and a clear ink with colored embossing powder. Okay, And I think that's pretty much it. So let's get started, shall we? Let's let me bring one of these papers. And actually another tool that you will need that I forgot to mention is a paintbrush. Just a small one. And actually probably if you have a flatter one that's kind of square on the top versus like a round long brush like this one, it's better in the way that you kind of brush the powder away. So we will also actually need a sheet of paper that the powder can accumulate on, and that we will use it to funnel back into our bottles. Okay, let's get started. So I want to show you different details of the stamps and how they come across and how you get that that bumpy look, that gorgeous bumpy look. So I'll be using a little trash can from my Sweet Stamp Shop Plan to Clean set, and as you can see, it's got ridges and lines on it, so it's got some detail. So let's show you that in the gold first, I think. So you just kind of ink your stamp liberally, because the ink is what you'll use to kind of attract the powder on, and you will just stamp it onto your labels and use, let's do the gold here, and you will just cover it with your powder like so, and just make sure the whole image is covered, and you would just tap the image. Now a few people will say to flick the back of the pages, and I actually don't like doing that because you will dislodge some of the powder on the stamp image, and then you will lose the raised effect on places that it's not going to be a complete picture. So I don't like doing that at all, and I would and you know, you can play around with it and see how it works for you, but that's just my thing that I've noticed that happens. So we want to brush away any powder that's around our image that we don't really want to emboss, and any loose powder around your image will basically get embossed and have that raised effect, and it just does, it looks messy. So you want to clean it up, and that's what it looks like. It's this oh, where's my camera? It's has this I don't know, matte kind of really bland look to it, and you can still definitely see the powder attached to the image, and that's when we'll use our heating tool. And I'll bring this up to the camera, and hopefully you'll see it only takes a few seconds for the image to come through, and it will change the look and the feel of the image. And you can see it already starting to change. And let's give that just a few more heat. And as you can see, it's now this beautiful, shiny, glossy picture versus what it had looked like before. And that's what you are looking for, the effect that you're looking for. And once it turns to that, I usually stop embossing, using the heating tool, because there's a fine line between heating the powder to have this effect to actually burning the powder, and you will see the difference as soon as you kind of go too far. And you know, if you feel it, it's this gorgeous feeling, this gorgeous raised effect that's just really, really pretty and beautiful, and you can see the shine to it, and I hope that's coming through. Let's see if I can, oh, Yeah, so it's really pretty. I really love embossing, and I love using it in cards, especially when I do like you know, cards that we send. So there's that. And what I do with this loose powder that's accumulated here, you kind of just turn your page into a funnel, tap it across, and bring your bottle back, and it just goes straight back in there. As you can see, this is a really big bottle. It's not really a big bottle, but this bottle of powder will go a long, long way. Okay, so there's that one. And so we can try it now using the black and still use the clear, and use this time the clear embossing powder. So let's apply ink to that liberally. And in this way, I'm just using the stamping technique that, you know, you just kind of bring the stamp pad to the ink and you just dab it on. Let's do it over here. Oops. And let's get the clear. There we go. And then just shake that so that the image is covered. And again, I'm just tapping it so we don't dislodge any powder that we really want to keep on there on the image. And unfortunately I had smeared a little bit on this one, and that's going to also emboss. So at least I can show you what that looks like. Bring my heating tool on. You can see it really only takes a few seconds for it to do. And there you have it. And as you can see, any powder that's left on the image will emboss. So like that little misstamp that I had there, unfortunately also took on powder and was embossed while I'm heating it. Oh, is it coming into view? It's probably not. Okay, here we go. So that's the black ink with the clear powder. And lastly, I want to just show you what it looks like with more detail on the image, because that's always really fun to see and what it looks like. So let's grab a different block and let's put that on there. And I think I'll need a bigger, there we go, bigger label for this one. So let me just put this away. Alright, there we go. And this particular, let's use the gold. This particular stamp is from the Studio L2E March release, and they, if you made an order early on in the first couple hundred, I think, that you receive this as a freebie. So let's ink that really well, and let's put that on here. Use the gold. Smear that on there. And just give it a little tap. And with your brush, just brush away any excess really carefully, because, oh, and like I did there, I brushed away some of the actual. And what we'll do is just put a little bit more on that part. Tap it away, and it should be, the ink on there is really, really long drying, so it tends to keep wet hence you can add more powder if you do brush away any part of the image. And use our heating tool. And you can see it already take effect and change. And see, that only took a few minutes. It's really hard to see actually. There we go. So, but coffee first. I actually really love this stamp. It really describes me very well. Okay, so that's how I did embossing in my planner. And actually I didn't talk about it, but I used the labels first. So I stamped on the label and then did the embossing on a label because the paper on my Erin Condren Life Planner couldn't handle the ink, the embossing ink that I was using. It actually bled through, and the paper really soaked a lot of the ink and came through the next page, which is not a look that you want, because you'll also be decorating the next page for the following week, or it, you know, had stamped on the previous week, which you don't want. So doing it this way, I was able to use embossing and still put it in my planner. So basically I just took the label off and would stick this. This is actually a perfect size width-wise to go in the Erin Condren Life Planner. And I'll show you that really quickly before. Let's see. Here we go. And it fits in there really perfectly. You can see. I can put that down because these are repositionable and I can just pick it up and pull it off. Easy. Okay, so there are two ways that you can actually probably do this in your planner, and one is to emboss all of your images all at once, or emboss and then add it into your planner as you go. For me, it actually went faster for me to emboss everything all at once and then add it to my planner as I am decorating it for that week. It helps a lot if you have a plan, funnily enough, to how you're going to decorate your week. So and I have like a running kind of list that I do for how I'm going to be decorating each day of that week. So that helps having that in place before you start, and also having a almost like a what do you call it? What is it? Like a you know, like an assembly line that you have. So you'll have your ink and your stamps all in one place, and you'll have an embossing station and then your heating station. So you're just kind of running through things in a, you know, very clear way and a, you know, a systematic way. And that took down a lot of the time aspect for me. So, and like I said, you don't have to emboss absolutely everything. I just went crazy for that week because I was very gold mad, as I mentioned, and you know, you can kind of do highlights here and there, and that will also still look beautiful. So I hope that if you have enjoyed this video and that you have learned something today. Thanks for being here and happy planning. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me on ayarn2remember@gmail.com. You'll also find me on Instagram at ayarn2remember, and you're also welcome to comment below. Thanks everyone.